Yes, we are live. That's awesome. So good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to host Kate Silveness Gallwey from Weaves of Waves. We'll be chatting about psychic readings and soul guidance. Kate is also a healer using Reiki to serve others. Kate lives on a large boat. I'm sure many of us would quite fancy that life. I'll be asking what led Kate to do this work. Can anyone develop their soul powers? How long did development take her, or was it innate? How can you get a reading? And much more. So, first of all, thank you for joining us, Kate. It's lovely to finally meet you.
Hi there. Hello. Oh,
Yeah.
Puppy's back.
Have you done any live interviews before? Or is this your first?
No, I have never done a live interview before. I've never done this.
So
I'm not entirely sure how it all works, to be honest. I've done podcasts on my own, and I started up my own radio station for a bit, but I didn't get any traction for it whatsoever, so it didn't go far. But yes, I can talk. I've got YouTube, I've got TikTok. I can talk for England, so it depends on where you want to focus me.
Yeah, you're full of surprises. I found out you're also an author as well before we went live, but we'll get into that in a moment. I think for now, like, when and how did it all start for you doing psychic tarot readings? When did you discover you could do this work?
So I needed glasses when I was about 16, and I didn't know I needed glasses. We traveled around as a kid, and basically I sat in front of them and I couldn't see the letters in front of it. And so they found out I was really, really short-sighted. And they were working out how long I'd been short-sighted. And I couldn't tell them, but I could say that it had been a while. I didn't know people saw edges. But I see colors around people. I can tell people are what they're saying, what they're talking, how they're looking on their face by the colors that move across their faces and across and around their bodies. And people leave what I now know as happy trails as they go behind them. And I thought that was normal. I said to the optician, fine, those are lovely glasses. I see edges. When do the purple and green trails all disappear? And they said, okay, that's something you'll have to see someone else about. So it was the first introduction that my vision, I think it was done because I couldn't see. It was a defensive thing. So I need to read people around me. I need to read the world around me. And I was seeing what is known as auras. And I always see auras. If I've had a few drinks, they come really, really vivid. And it's like looking into a person, and they can be telling you an untruth. They can be trying to sell you something. And it's like, okay, I can see what they're saying is different to what their colors are. So how do I make it merge to what I'm trying to understand who they are and what they're saying? And I had to learn to listen to the words, because even though they're lines through their teeth, they don't really want to know that. So I saw through people. I used to make people very uncomfortable. They can call it neurodiversity. They could call it ADHD. I love all these new words because they're linking up why my brain sees something different. And I'm short-sighted still to this day. I put a pair of glasses on to see the world and to drive, especially to drive, because drivers leave so many streaks and happy trails behind them. Most of them are angry. You want to see somebody cursing in a car and all the negative emotions that are coming off. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I had to learn to see the world. And I gathered other people learned to see the energetic world. I can see that automatically. And yes, so tarot reading was a way of being sociably acceptable to see somebody. In other words, I'm allowed to look at their colors and to interpret their colors when I'm reading their tarot. I don't need tarot. I don't need crystal ball, but it's a good tool to be acceptable that in that situation, I may read your colors.
Yeah, that's interesting. So do you work with spirit guides or etheric companions?
No. I work with the living. So I can see if you've lost somebody, sometimes there's an energy floating around you, and I can interpret that. I will not call them in. Sometimes I'm aware of energy bodies without physical bodies. And it's a curiosity. I don't know always they're different. I don't go into, sometimes there's animal spirit bodies that have no physical bodies. I've lost cats that's followed me around for years, and I've seen people who've lost dogs, dog-shaped things, and they're still there. They're following people around. But it's not my... I feel that sometimes when someone dies, it's important to let them go. And I don't feel it's my job unless the animal wants it or the person that's died wants it. I don't go there. It's purely, let's deal with what's in your life now. Let's deal with your relationships. Let's deal with your careers. Let's deal with your energies, your spiritual path, your soul journey. Why are you incarnated? I'm a logical, reasonable being. There is no way I would have been incarnated here doing this unless there was a logical reason behind it all. And reasons can change and reasons can adapt, but they're very, very important. And that's obvious in the... I can see wheels. The Eastern system calls them chakras. I didn't know what they were, but you also have them at your hands. They leave. And once I started looking deeper, I studied acupuncture. So my degree is in Chinese medicine. So I did 4 years of acupuncture, and I started to be able to see the meridian lines. So when I started doing acupressure and massage, you start working out where the body flows and how the energy flows, and how if you get a pain, there's a blockage. So you can see the energy in the wrist or the arm, the elbow, the knee, and you can move that energy. So like in acupuncture, you move the chi up and down the body to release the pain. And then I watched them grow it back. So in other words, they're not ready to let go of the pain. And so you've got to work with the person's mind. So working with the body was one thing. Working with the mind is the other. It starts here. Start actually in the emotionals, but it starts here until you get into the mind, until the mind can accept. I loved all the Louise Hay stuff in the 80s and 90s. You know, thoughts create things and all of that, because it does. It starts here. And if you can't change and adapt with life, you get pain. And I can remove the pain, but then you bring it straight back again. So I could work on many levels of people, but I still think that talk therapy, talking it over, talking to the front brain so that the subconscious mind and the collective unconscious, all of that stuff can start working through the layers.
I love how you explain all that. You know, so if they can't move with life and move with the times, and you've got to experience pain. Yeah, that's so
and it eventually grows. It makes us grow old. You watch people grow old and eventually die, and that's because the energy flow is not flowing. It gets stuck in places, gets rigid, it gets dry, and I watch them fade, and there's nothing I can do about it. So it's not really a nice thing to see in people. That's why I live on a boat, and I live pretty much close to nature. I love the flow of water around me. It helps regulate my own emotions. It keeps me grounded. Of all things, the fluid energy is just awesome, especially at this time of year. Spring.
Yeah. Do you spend any time or much time meditating, or do you find yourself quite?
I used to stay grounded with meditation. I did Vipassana. I don't know if anybody knows Vipassana. It's basically 10 days of silence. So there is places called Dharma, and it's in Herefordshire, and it's by donation only, and they're an amazing organization. But you have to sit still and be quiet for 10 days. Wow. I went crazy. My mind was just like, I had to go implosion rather than an explosion. And yes, you segregated men and women, and it was good. But I smuggled in some Cadbury's cream eggs because they have a very bland Indian vegetarian diet. I had to break the rule somewhere because it was just too much for me. But a lot of the people who smoked had to wander down half a mile to the car park. They had real proof. There was a place where you could wander in the woods, and it was really beautifully done. I so admire the people who keep the space, because it teaches you to hold space. And I sat still for 4.5 hours. I'm not a person who sits still at all. And that to me was the climax of basically meditation, because if I sit still, I can go into that space where you're in the body and the body is all connected, and the energy work, and you find out where it is and what it's doing, and you just hold space, sit still, the mind follows. So if you keep the body still, the mind will follow it. And if, again, with a little bit of breath, a little bit of, okay, that's meditation. And it doesn't need to be anything more than that. So when I did Transcendental 20, 30, probably 40 years ago, that was 20 minutes twice a day. And I used to fuss. I was all over the place for that. I can't focus. Now I can focus pretty much with just a few breaths and sitting still. Holding space for somebody is a sacred art, and holding space for yourself, it starts there.
Can you define transcendental meditation for me, please?
Oh, remember the flying gurus? Remember the ones that used to fly?
Yeah.
And I did a course in that, and they give you a mantra. So I don't know, mani pani hom, whatever. They give you a mantra, and you say that over and over again, and it's meant to quieten the brain. It didn't work for me. My brain is I cannot quiet my brain. Anyone who tells you that they can quiet their brain, you look at them and you think, well, I wonder if your brain was that active in the first place. The best bet you can do is make friends with it and send it off on tasks. It loves tasks. So this overthinking brain, I have dozens of tabs open. You just send them off on a task, and then you ground it and you put it back into the body. And you keep doing that over and over, but you cannot shut the brain down. It's like a radio station that's constantly going off in your head. And I also don't think that all of those thoughts that go around, it's also part of the collective unconscious. So you're picking up your neighbor's thoughts. You're picking up what you're doing on social media. You're picking up the woke left, right fight that's going on. You're picking all of that up. So when you have really contradiction thoughts going on, you're like, hang on a minute, how much is mine and how much is whatever? And it's very important to discern from which is which. So I try and separate the thought patterns. You can do it by mind mapping. There's lots of ways. Sometimes it's a good idea to burn the place down and start again inside here.
So can you give me an example of what it might look like if you give your brain a task? Can you give me an example?
So supposing I like browsing TikTok at the moment now because the algorithms are all over the place, but you can see the pattern of the algorithm. So how you stop for a second on something, they record that, and you can see it. So it's like divination, divination by TikTok. There you go. There probably should be a channel on that, but you can you shuffle through TikTok and you find things. Okay, that's an interesting one. What was I looked at something Chinese Tai Chi, the Tai Chi girlies that were really flowing. Now a long time ago I used to do Tai Chi, and so I ticked on I went and Googled it. So I sent my brain off to find various images of how can I learn to do that, because it's a lovely moving flowing dance like meditation. So my brain came back with all of these things, and then I go and look it up on Google. And I found a video that could teach me basic Tai Chi moves. But that's just one example. If you forget a name, if you need to remember something, you tell your brain to go find it, and then you do something else. And a little while later, it will pop up in your conscious mind going, hello, this is your brain at its best. Your brain at its worst, we all know, it spirals you down into depression and anxiety. Brain at your best, you use it as a tool to find you things to remember and do, and what things you want to experience.
I love that. I love that. Your dog's a very excitable, bless him.
He is. He's only 2.
Oh, right.
2 and a bit. But yes, he's going to be pounding around.
Yeah. Do you have any memorable psychic or otherworldly experiences? That's things that stood out in your path.
I've trained in many disciplines. I mean, I could tell you about the Tantra ones, but there we go. A couple of the Tantra courses had me, you have to face all your inner fears and all your inner demons. I would say one of the best things I've ever done was when my life collapsed, and it has collapsed on a number of occasions. And I found that all the love and light stuff didn't work. Hello, beautiful. Hello, loves. I see you. Yes, you are. You'll see. There we go. All the love and light stuff in my life did not work. So you can call on archangels, you can call on all kinds of things, crystals. When the shit hits the fan, you actually are on your own. And that was my fundamental anger at years and years of dealing with the light, becoming a light worker and a healer. When the shit hits the fan, there was nothing to be found and there was nobody about. So you go inside and you use that anger as a tool to wield yourself. And it was shadow work. I didn't know what shadow work was because everybody was saying, just be positive. And it was all the secret stuff and Louise Hay and I love the life the way I am and nothing needs to change. Yes, it does need to change because you're acting like an asshole. But it was an implosion again where you take it down and you face who you are. And that's not an easy task. I went vampire. Okay. One of my books is called Being a Psychic Vampire. I realized that since I was a teenager, I had been causing dramas to feed off it. And I would cause dramas when I was hungry, and I would, I was a teenager, so you chat up guys, you chat up girls, and you feed off them. Oh, stop it. So being a psychic vampire was my journey into the darkness. And I learned energy work. I learned as a Reiki teacher 21 years ago on most Reiki practitioners feed off the energy. If I want to clear a blockage in you, I will feed off the energy in that blockage. So I get a meal, the person gets the energy blockage is removed and everybody's happy. But then as a psychic vampire took it further. I ended up feeding off grief, anger, and pain. So I can give you a space in the storm. I can help you sleep. I can take your pain away. I can shift the energy around you and hold it back. Now, I'm not going to do it forever. It's going to come in. But if you need a good night's sleep, or if you need you've had enough painkillers and nothing is working, I can hold space for you then. But the understanding is that the vampire connection is, I would feed off it, and I would get a hit, is an addictive thing. And it's not a light working sort of thing. But you can give someone in the storm, but you have to recognize that they will get addicted to you and they'll get angry when you take it away. So a lot of the shadow work that I did was about energy, but I learned how to balance my own energy. I learned to go inside and find what the occultists call the black flame. So this black flame doesn't go out. It can flicker and move around, but it's solid and it's inside me. It's inside here. It's my core being. So once you have a structure that you can build on, suddenly you can embrace the light because you have that structure, and it is based in darkness, and it is based on, all the negative emotions that I have, and all the base, like your sexuality, your anger, your rage, all of that is based on it, but it's a solid thing. And that's, I think, was very necessary for me to go through it, because now I can show authenticity, I can show realness. And I can also hold space for people who need a space in the storm. Just that.
You're full of surprises. You're like a great, well-kept secret. Where have you been? Where are your books?
Well, I've had to learn this the hard way. It's not a pathway people want to talk about. I wrote Being a Psychic Vampire about 10, 12 years ago. Again, it was an exercise because I was part of a online vampire community. And don't get me wrong, these are not nice people. They will screw you over if they can, right? It's in their nature. It's the nature of the beast. And to hold that beast at bay and to adapt it. And what I did was I absorbed it. I learned to become an alchemist. So you take the dark side of yourself and absorb it. And as it absorbs, you kind of blend both light and dark. So you blend duality. And it worked. And I can tell you about it, but I can't do it for you. You kind of have to hit rock bottom, and then maybe we can talk. Especially with this sort of level, because you have to be able to build that solid foundation inside, because the rest of the world is not solid. It's all an illusion. There is nothing real. And that almost isn't teachable.
fascinating stuff. I wanted to recap on what it is you specialize in when someone comes to you for a reading. It's not like, when am I going to meet Mr. Right or Mrs. Right? It's more like, so what sort of things you touch
a lot
on?
of people can tell you the good stories. Oh, I had a reading with Gypsy so and so, and they predicted I'd have 3 children. I don't do it that way. I'm not Gypsy. I respect the Gypsies, don't get me wrong, but they've also given it a little bit of a the Lucky Heather sort of coloring. And it's I struggle with the whole tarot and crystal ball image, because I do take it and make it as my own. I'm a perfect example of, I'm taking it, I channel. I open up and allow my higher self just to use me as a mouthpiece. And that's why I put a disclaimer now. I'm studying counseling. So I like opening people up so I can listen. Just be a good listener. But for the first 10, 15 minutes, I will tell you about yourself. And I will tell you, the last question is usually, how do you know that? Because I do. Just get over it. Don't overthink that part. And as soon as I deal the cards, I let the cards talk to me. I let my higher self talk to me. I say that your higher self is talking to my higher self, and I'm just the mouthpiece. So between you and me, and there is no spirits or anything else involved. It's just pure energy. And I let the circle continue, and I let it flow. And what I say may not be politically correct. It's going to come out. But one thing for sure, it's never negative. I might say, this happened, or you're being screwed over right now. Let's see if we can work through it. Where is it going? And I won't go too far into the future either, because I used to see about a year, maybe 2, but time is speeding up much quicker now. 3 months, 6 months, the world could be different. I'm not responsible for that. I'm just dealing with it. But I will get that connection, and I can get that connection fast. And I will be talking, as I say, I just talk bollocks at them for about 10, 15 minutes. And then they go, how do you know all of that? And I go, I don't know. Tell me about so-and-so. Set back. How do you feel about that? You know, because I'm doing counseling, I might as well get my skill set sort of in. And we have a heart-to-heart conversation, and it's beautiful. How can I help? And they'll say, okay, can you tell me how to quiet my mind? I'll give them a few pointers there. Can you tell me? So unlike counseling, which is not being a fixer, the channeled side of me is a fixer. I will give advice. But again, it's a disclaimer. It's only my personal experience. I'm not a Western allopathic medicine, so I try and avoid all of that. I'll avoid financial information because I'm useless at that sort of level.
Wow, yeah. That sounds amazing. I've already said I want to book in with you, so that'll be happening very soon. And what about your healing work? You know, you mentioned you do.
I used to be an acupuncturist. I used to be a massage therapist. My hands can't do the deep tissue as I used to, so I had to pull back, probably just during COVID. I need to go online, and I'm not good at that. So it's very new, weavesofwaves.co.uk. I've just bought the website, and I'm giving it somebody to set it up for us. And so I love doing face-to-face. That's kind of where I get my balance from, because it's a genuine heart-to-heart conversation between two people that just want the best for each other. That's how I love the conversations. When you put it into an online thing, it changes the dynamics a bit. And I have to make sure that it's a safe space between myself and the other person. That to me is paramount. So I'm working on that. I need to know how it looks for me so that I can project the safe space. Now, I can do parasite removal. I can do Reiki healing. I'm a psychic vampire. I can remove pain. I can give you the sleep you need. I can give you some pain-free hours so that you can sort your life out a bit, so that we can move through it. With that, we can call it Reiki. So, in other words, and also I can tune into bodies. So, supposing you've got a knee injury, right? And it's been there on and off for months. So if you've got this knee injury, how do we talk to it? One of the things that Louise Hay taught me is part of that is there is a reason, whether it's moving forward in life, whether you're frightened of taking a new step, there's a logical body-mind connection. So if we can tune into, say, you've got a knee injury or a shoulder injury, and we tune into it and say, okay, what's it trying to tell you? What is the gain here? Why would your body be doing this to you? And what can we sort it out? How can we sort it out? And so that you are listening to the body parts that is causing you pain. Even if you're not going to do the thing that is required, at least you have the knowledge why you have the pain. For example, I did my ankles in. My ankles are very weak and they'll give way. And if they give way, I'm jarred and I'm limping for a while. And I looked it up with the Louise Hay, and it was fear of moving forward, fear of, new steps. And every now and again, I'll get a twinge in my ankle and I go, okay, why am I frightened of moving forward? I have to take that inside, take the thought apart, and, be gentle with my ankle and say, yes, I hear you. I acknowledge the fact that you're trying to tell me something, and I'm sorry I haven't been listening. All of that is, the body is your consort, and a consort is like your husband or your wife. It's something you have to work with intimately on every level, and it's precious. This is why I feel that life is sacred and the body is sacred. And when we get things and we eat stuff that is rubbish to it, we drink too much or so, I'm just as bad. We got cake, we got cereals and stuff like that. It shouldn't. There is a price to pay, and if you know what you're doing and you accept the price, that's fine. But if you don't know what you're doing, then I can help. Yes, be grateful for the pain too. Yes, the pain is your teacher. Your body is your teacher. On this level existence, we don't actually have the full manual. We didn't read the menu or the manuscript of the instruction booklet. And so the body is here to teach you on the instructions on how to live in a very, very dense material plane. And if we are disregarding all that information, you're not fully experiencing this plane, which, again, is another whole subject. But the pain's there as your teacher. Your body teaches you. Trust me, I'm going through that nasty thing called menopause, puberty reversed. And I'm having to listen so carefully to what my body is changing and turning me into. So that I can speak from experience. I've never managed to grow my hair before, right? I couldn't work out why my hair would just break off short. And it was doing some research. I sent my brain off to do some research. The shampoo and conditioner I've been using for years is for short hair. It's designed to strip your hairs of all the natural oils so it can't grow long. And it was like, right, so all I need to do is change my shampoo to a little rice bar or a rosemary bar, a herbal bar that doesn't have all those nasty oil strippers. And suddenly I got hair. I can't believe how fast it's grown. This is only in about a year, about a good couple of inches, and it's healthy. So it's like, right, shampoo and conditioner I've been using, I will never touch again. It's not for me. And it's learning this way, learning to be with the body. And it's such an adventure. I love it.
Do you think it might work for me, for my hair?
No. It might for the beard.
Yes, that's a good point.
But we're all different, and we all have to learn our own body and our genetics, because we're also learning about our parents and our ancestors stuff as well. So there is a lot of layers to this.
Yeah, there is. I want to thank everyone who's been in the chat, leaving comments. And if you've got any questions for Kate, now is your time to ask them. If you're watching this on replay, obviously keep the comments coming. We'll circle back our questions. Yeah, or if you want to share this interview out, share the love. Share to your Facebook profile, your groups, your audience, whatever. Do you have any final thoughts, Kate?
I don't know where this is going, so I don't know. Where do you stream this?
Well, it's currently on Facebook. I'll put it on YouTube as well. That's the only platforms I'm on, to be honest. I don't bother with Twitter or X.
Okay, it makes sense. Has anybody else got questions? I'm quite open to questions. Yeah, thank you, Lynn. I live on a boat that cruises up and down. I'm on the cut, which means basically you have to move every 2 weeks.
Right.
And it's not the easiest of lives. But it takes me back down to nature. I find the more you can stay out in the world, in the nature, even when it's cold, even when it's wet, when it's muddy, when it's miserable, it's kind of slows down the mental process. And this is why we were always told to go hug a tree. Tree hugging is great. And I would say that if anybody is in pain, go and lie on the grass right now, because it's really, really absorbs things. Yes, it helps me deal with my own energy, because my energy, when uncontrolled, hurts people. I am far too direct. I can't help seeing directly into a person, and I will mirror that back, and it makes people very, very uncomfortable. And it's I will pick up all the uncomfortableness and mirror that back as well, and so the process just gets bigger and bigger. So unless I am grounded, unless I am able to sort of just be into the boat, into the water, into nature, the emotion part of it, that's from Chinese medicine. Water is the kidneys, and it represents fear. So yes, definitely being an emotional part of it. Without the elements in my life, I would be a hermit, because I drive people away from me by just seeing them who they are and where they are. So it comes down to, I think another word is an empath, and you can pick up all their emotions and flood it back at them. It's kind of what teenagers do. Teenagers are annoying and they're grumpy and they drive everybody away from them, whatever. And they swallow themselves into computer games and things like that, which doesn't matter. A lot of the time is because they are feeling stuff that they just don't understand. Thank you. I feel lucky, but it's not an easy life. You try emptying the toilet. You try cleaning it. Yes, the mud off the floor from the dog. But yes, it's got its plus points, is that I can go outside, and the bird song this time of year, it just connects you. There's a part of you goes silent when you hear the bird song, and it's just beautiful. And wild garlic is growing everywhere right now, and we're eating it. It's amazing stuff. So, and right down by my gangplank, you've got common comfrey. So that's like a bone setting thing. So if you've got bug bites or anything, there's a few insects around at the moment, so you just get the leaf and rub it on your arm. So there's medicine around me, and this is just beautiful space.
Yeah, and did you manage to keep warm enough in the winter on the boat?
Yes, we've got a lovely little fire that heats the whole thing. You just you kind of have to fill it up, and then it's t-shirts, so you have to open the windows to sort of cool down a bit. But yes, the coal, the smokeless coal that we buy, we've learned to keep it going all through the night, so that you can wake up in the morning and it's still slightly glowing. There's an art form to it, but we are off grid. So basically we power solar panels is powering the Wi-Fi, so we're on mobile data. So the off grid, we've got gas to cook with as well. So it's wholesome. It's more wholesome than all this climate stuff. At least I'm aware of my footprint. Yes, we have to use petrol generators for when the sun doesn't shine. So yeah, I'm aware of my energy input and output. We have to be. Only about 3 years. Yeah, so it was an incredible step. And the first year, I think I was in shock for most of the time, because I couldn't believe I had to do all of this. But yeah, I have a very, very understanding, easygoing partner, and he's awesome. Together, we work together to sort of I wouldn't want to do it on my own. He's the driver, and I do the locks.
Right. Awesome. In conclusion, if somebody's watching this and they want to reach out for a reading, for healing, for whatever, how specifically can they do that? What's the best way?
Facebook is good. Facebook, I've got 2 pages on Facebook. I've got Weaves of Waves tarot reading, and I've got Weaves of Waves video. So I sometimes do a few videos. I'll just record a bit of the narrow boating, of how my cat got fell overboard and swam over to the other side, and various bits. And then I've got a dedicated page to the tarot and healing, and that will be linked very shortly to my website, Weaves of Waves. You can find me on TikTok, Weaves of Waves, and you can find a lot of my old videos that go back quite a few years on YouTube. So there's various places.
Thank you so much, Kate. You've been a fantastic guest full of surprises. I didn't know what I expected, but I certainly wasn't expecting it to be anything like as insightful or fascinating as this. Thank you to the people who've been on the live chat as well. You make this chat much more interactive and give your energy, just making this so much better. So thank you. You can see if you're watching this on replay, keep the comments and questions coming. Keely saying, thank you so much. Really enjoyed it. Lynn saying, well, check it out. Thank you. Keely saying, love the idea of off-grid living. We've also had Craig Corn on the stream as well. Lynn Wheatman, Kathy Shooter. Some wonderful, awesome people. So much love and until the next one.
Yeah, likewise, Danny. Many blessings to you and yours, and may you go from strength to strength.
Thank you very much. Much love and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye now.